Hello, this is Pearl. To finish off the reading of Hinds' Feet on High Places, I will be reading an excerpt from the last chapter of the book. I didn't feel led to read the last 2 chapters of Hinds' Feet on High Places in their entirety because, though they contain some good things, I wasn't sure about a few other things lining up with Scripture. Like I said at the beginning of this reading, no book besides the Bible is perfect. I apologize for any disappointment. I'm reading the last paragraph of the last chapter, chapter 20, so let me set the scene of what is happening. Grace and Glory, formerly much afraid, is standing on the edge of the high places with her 2 companions, Joy and Peace, and their king, the shepherd. The great waterfall is close at hand. From the heights we leap and flow to the valleys down below. Sweetest urge and sweetest will to go lower, lower still. Suddenly she understood. She was beholding a wondrous and glorious truth, a great multitude whom no man could number, brought like herself by the King to the kingdom of love into the high places, so that they could now pour out their lives in gladdest abandonment, leaping down with him to the sorrowful, desolate places below, to share with others the life which they had received. She herself was only one drop among that glad, exultant throng of self-givers, the followers of the King of Love, united with him and with one another, each one equally blessed and beloved as herself. For he loves each of us, she said to herself, as though there were only one to love. The thought of being made one with the great fall of many waters filled her heart with ecstasy and with a rapturous joy beyond power to express. She, too, at last, was to go down with them, pouring herself forth in love's abandonment of self-giving. He brought me to the heights just for this, she whispered to herself, and then looked at him and nodded. At that, he began leaping and springing down the mountainside before them, bounding from rock to rock, always choosing, however, leaps which were within their power to follow, and sure footholds for less experienced feet. Behind him went Grace and Glory, with Joy and Peace beside her, leaping down, just as the waters leaped and sang beside them. They mingled their voices with the joyful music of the many waters, singing their own individual song. Make haste, beloved, be thou like in heart on mountains spicy sweet, and I, on those high places where thou art, will follow on Hinds' feet. As close behind the heart there leaps the roe, so where thou goest I will surely go. That, as perhaps you know, is the last verse of the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's, but for Grace and Glory it was the beginning of a new song altogether. Thank you for listening to this reading, and I hope that it has encouraged you in your journey with Jesus, our soon-coming King. All glory to him. In the description box there is a link to a nice song that is fitting with the message in this book. I encourage you to listen to it. It's called Where He Leads Me. I also have an announcement. I will be reading Part 2 of Little Pilgrim's Progress by Helen L. Taylor. Part 2 is Christiana's journey. I put a link to Part 1 that I read a few years ago on my mom's channel in the description box as well. Thanks again for listening. God bless.